As Bitcoin spreads virally through cities and counties and states and countries, on one hand, it's drawing their energy. On the other, I have gone through 100,000 pages of economic history by Murray Rothbard, of political history by Will Durant, all the Austrian economists, Hayek and von Mises, all of the political histories, and they're my mentors, learning from that. And then I've spent a lot of time communing with AI, which has also read all of them, and discussing what it thinks. And I'm very inspired by the great thinkers throughout the civilization. And of course, if I had to pick one mentor of the modern era, it would be Satoshi, because Satoshi gave us perfect money. And I date January 3rd, 2009 as the singularity. All of the historians, all of the writers I read, Voltaire and von Mises and Rothbard and Durant, they all lament that the world is an imperfect place, the money is broken, and government policy intervention doesn't work. All of them agree on that. It took Satoshi to give us the solution, because the solution was, for the first time in human history, we can tightly bind economic energy to the individual, put it in their head. And so this idea that we can invert the entire power structure of the human race by pulling the energy out of the land, out of the currency, out of the gold, out of the companies, out of the collectibles, out of the bonds, and put it into the heads or the hands of the people, that's a profound breakthrough, because that gave us the hope that we could actually deliver economic freedom, political freedom, dignity and sovereignty to humanity. Well, I would like to say that was a dream before January 3rd, but the truth is all of these historians, all of these economists I've read, they never articulated the dream. They couldn't conceive of the solution. They just gave you 100 examples of the problem. And so if there is one mentor, it's got to be Satoshi. Bitcoin is a truth virus wrapped in a freedom virus, wrapped in a monetary virus. And it is spreading throughout the entire world. When 10 people on the city block embrace it, it becomes more powerful. When the richest person on the block embraces it, it becomes more powerful again. When a small city embraces it, it becomes more powerful again, and the city's transformed. They become more truthful, and they look out further, and they become more rational. And then everyone in the network benefits. And so as Bitcoin spreads virally through cities and counties and states and countries, on one hand, it's drawing their energy. On the other hand, it's transforming them. Every single politician, every single person that seeks to benefit from Bitcoin finds themselves transformed by Bitcoin. So it is a virus, but it's a virus of rationale, and it's a virus of truth, and it's a virus of soundness, sound money. So as more and more countries embrace it, it will actually make Bitcoin stronger. Bitcoin is better if adversaries, if the 20 superpowers in the world, or the 20 powers in the world, they all embrace it, they will all create a countervailing check and balance on each other that strengthens the protocol and actually strengthens everybody in the network. So I don't worry about it spreading to other countries. I don't worry about it spreading to more powerful companies or any other entity. I think Bitcoin is a perfect machine made of imperfect parts. And it is true that every single person that adopts Bitcoin will be imperfect. Every company, every government, they will all be imperfect, but they will give their energy to the network. The network will become even more anti-fragile, even more robust, and even more powerful. And that is the impact of this brilliant crypto virus that was unleashed by Satoshi on the world. Lots of people will come up with lots of things to do with digital capital over time. What we're doing with it is we're using it as collateral. It's the base layer that we use to issue billions of dollars of bonds. We've issued about $10 billion of bonds that were backed by the Bitcoin. And now we've just issued 2 preferred stocks, one called Strike and there's about $1 billion of it floating in the market now. That is backed by the Bitcoin. And another thing we issued called Strife, that provides a 10% dividend at par value. That's the sort of the highest yielding instrument of its kind in the market. That is backed by Bitcoin. So when people are buying this preferred stock called Strife, we're agreeing to give them 10% yield forever, for 100 years, for 1,000 years. And so how are we doing that? We're investing our own Bitcoin. And then their question is, well, how will you pay us? Well, we're invested in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's appreciating. I think it'll appreciate 30% a year for the next 20 years, and then 20% or more. So the Bitcoin is the engine that is generating the dividends, that is generating the collateral and the security for those fixed income investors. The future of our company, our business strategy, is we wish to be the global leader in the issuance of Bitcoin-backed credit. We want to issue a preferred stock that gives you European yield in return for Bitcoin yield. So we'll give the Europeans more yield than they're getting from their corporate bonds. Or we'll generate yield for the Japanese yen. So the Japanese investors get 50 basis points in yield from their corporate bonds. If we go to Japan and offer 10 times that much, they're getting JPY yield. We will take back Bitcoin yield, you see. So what we're doing is we're creating Bitcoin yield for our equity investors, and we're giving fiat yield for all of the conventional fixed income investors. That's a $300 trillion market. When you're saying, well, how are we actually getting value for the Bitcoin? The Bitcoin is generating yield for our equity shareholders because every time we sell any of those fixed income instruments, that generates BTC yield. And then, of course, the fixed income instruments generate a more secure, higher yield for the conventional investors. And that's a business that can grow scalably for a long, long time. The critical thing is we have to have the Bitcoin. We have the $60 billion of Bitcoin collateral. That's what allows us to secure the loan. And that's also what allows us to provide the performance to the convertible preferred stocks that the investors want. And so it's a very elegant strategy right now. The beauty of the strategy is we hold our own Bitcoin. We're not giving it to anybody else, hoping they'll